Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to our study on Isaiah. And today we're in chapter 4. But I'm going to read two verses that we close with in chapter 3, just so we can get an understanding where we are. And again, this is a future prophecy that now has come to pass about 200 years after or so Isaiah put this out. For us, it's history. For him, it is yet future. And for people reading the Bible at that time. All right, so in 3:25 it says, "Thy men shall fall by the sword, and the mighty in the war. And in the gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate, the nation, shall sit upon the ground, because they have lost so many people." You know, war is a horrible thing. I believe in World War II, there were 73 million people that died. Probably 200 or 300 million that were adversely affected. You know, I saw a movie based on truth, and there's books like The Hiding Place, of the horrors that people went through. But in the movie, there was a concentration camp, and they had young boys there. They had killed most of the Jews, and they were about to kill the boys, and the military came in. I believe it was the Russians came and rescued that camp, and the kids scattered and went and found the place, and they abode on the ground trying to survive off foraging and begging. And it was actually a very good movie. It was in German language, I believe, or Romanian. But it was very interesting, very pertinent type of study for what happens when war comes in. Now, this chapter 4 is really kind of strange because it's going to be one verse talking about that which was going to come. And then it's going to jump thousands of years to somewhere else. So let me read verse 4, which is a continuance of chapter 3, 25 and 26. "And in that day," notice that day, it did not happen yet to Isaiah's time. It was yet future. "In that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." This is what war does. There's no men left in the town. And these women that were walking around a few generations ago with, all these tymbals and, gold earrings and costly array are now desolate. They probably can survive, it appears, because they said, "We'll work for you." But there is no purpose or direction to their life. So they come to one man and say, "We'll abide with you. We'll take care of you so we can have your name and have respect and possibly even have children." This is the desperate situation. Could you imagine in that day reading this and seeing this yet future to happen to your nation? Where would your heart be? Oh, you would be desolate if you knew this was coming. Now, God jumps through Isaiah thousands of years to the Millennium Kingdom. So let us start reading that. All right, it says here in verse 3, "And it shall come to pass," so time is past, "that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem." So there'll be coming a day when Jerusalem will return. Now, there was also a prophecy we're going to get to here in the book of Isaiah, I believe it is, and in Jeremiah, that they would come back over a period of time into Jerusalem. So when they came back into Jerusalem, I expect that they were expecting the Messiah to come. But he didn't. All right, that was the first return. What God is talking about here, what Isaiah is showing here, is the future return when the Messiah comes back. So he goes on in verse 4. "And when the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion." They're clean. These women that clung to men because they had nothing anymore as a background, a heritage. Now we'll have it returned. Their sins will be washed away. And shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and the spirit of burning. And that is yet future, where Jesus is going to judge in the nations as they come against Israel. In verse 5, and the Lord will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion and upon her assemblies a cloud of smoke by day and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense. God will be in the midst of Jerusalem. He will be protecting Jerusalem. We're going to see later on, people are going to make visits to Jerusalem because they know that's where the Lord is. That's going to be your next vacation spot. In verse 6, and there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for the covert from the storm and from the rain. This is yet future, yet to come to pass, all predicted by Isaiah. So now you can see, in the few chapters we covered, he's prophesied against Israel. He's prophesied against Judah. He's talking about a millennial kingdom. He's prophesying into past our day, until the day that we look for when Jesus Christ comes back and the church will be out. The 144,000 witnesses will be in the city of Jerusalem. I'm going to take you back, though, for a second to chapter 2, and we're going to read verse 2 again. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house will be established, and in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations will flow to it. So here you have judgment coming, and here you have judgment on the other nations taking place already, and Jesus coming and setting up Jerusalem. He's going to dwell in the midst of the city. Isn't that good news? Isn't that great news? So until next time, may Jesus increase as we decrease.